You're listening to WooSox Insider, presented by your Worcester Red Sox.
What is up, everybody? Dave here for this episode of WooSox Insider. No Brendan this week, but I promise you next week we will have an in-park episode in Puller Park with the full crew there. But today it is me with the electric Eddie Monigan. Eddie, what is up?
What's up, Dave? Good to see you.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's right after a homestand, so I'm starting to relax a little bit, go through all the videos from the week. But it was a great one.
Yep, we are on a little bit of a 2-week break right now, coming up with the All-Star break, and 1.5 away stands basically, with the three game away stand coming up right now in Jacksonville from Friday to Sunday. So we get a nice little 2-week break here from games, but there's still a lot of events going on at the park. When it comes to the events, I know you shoot a lot of baseball. You did that as well when you were at Bentley, shooting for different college sports such as hockey and things like that. When you're shooting videos or photos for events, what kind of different approach do you take where, I feel like for a baseball game, it's almost formulaic, where like, in big moments, what kind of angles you want to capture. When it comes to different events, how do you capture like the emotions between people or staff sharing conversations and stuff with fans?
That's exactly what I was going to say is it's baseball's a lot of a process of like, if a big home run happens in the first inning, it's not as exciting, obviously, as a walk-off in the bottom of the ninth. But on this, it is really just capturing emotions on, the most basic level. Relationships forming at events versus players, pouring their heart out for the game that they love to play. But shooting events has been a really good time for me. I know I took video of a season ticket member panel with Rich Gedman and Oil Can Boy the other day. That was great to hear all his stories from playing baseball, even after baseball, his hopes for the future of the game and stuff like that. But it's great to be able to see fans, especially at these panels, connect with former players, current players, stuff like that, and really form a connection that you don't really see on the field. It's more of baseball players as people instead of just players.
Now, what I kind of want to dive into as well is, you just spoke about kind of like the process and how you like have these moments that you want to capture when you're taking photo and video. But also it matters how you capture that. And you have this instinct for finding the best angles. And I'll put a picture up on the screen now of this picture that we have hanging up in the control room. It's this like fetal pose where I see you do it all the time. It's like your signature pose and you have the camera kind of like propped up. And it produces some of the best content I've seen video-wise that we have out on our socials and everything. How did you think to start doing that kind of angle? And when you approach a play or a player, do you already have some kind of like thought in your head of like, okay, I want to be standing on this side of him and get this kind of angle for like what's in the background and stuff like that?
So the photo that you're talking about that you just put on, that angle is framing the video board where when our closer comes out in the bottom of the top of the ninth, to close the game, it's usually AJ Politi. He comes out, runs, and we flicker the lights and put fire on the board with the WooSox logo all lit up in flames. It's pretty cool. You guys should come see it at a game. But there's a certain angle in order to have him pitch with that fire in the background for a video. And it just so happens that I have to be laying pretty much flat on the little Unibank logo on the side. So that's how that picture came to be. But I think every day I try and come up with a game plan of what I want to do depending on the situation and stuff like that. Like at the end of the game, if we win, if I'm going to run out to center field, which is really funny when that happens. I don't know if you can put a clip in here of that, but that's always great to see on the corner of the broadcast. But if I'm running out to the pitcher, I'm running out to center field. I usually know by, I'd say, around the top of the 7th inning if I'm going to track the ball from the pitcher to the catcher and then hopefully get their hug at the end of the game, or if I'm going to run out and do it with a wide angle lens, anything like that. I usually try and nail that idea down by, the middle innings of the game, especially if we're up by a lot. But if it's a comeback win like the other day, it was really heat of the moment. I was just like, all right, I'm strapping up the camera. I'm running to second base and third base, and I'll get Sogard hugging the player who was at first base. I think it was Steven Scott on Sunday.
How much? I mean, the players got to love the content that you get, and like, how much do you have players requesting like photo and video from you guys in general?
We've actually, so last year we had a lot of requests, and this year we've cut down, not because they don't want the content, because we have a system where we can just upload them per homestand to different folders, and they can go see them, go post them, whatever they want to do with them, save everything. So that's really worked out well. Everyone loves it. A lot of the guys post on Instagram. They always tell us like, keep it up, good job. Uh, and I just love to see when my work and especially my coworkers' work are up on Instagram and for everybody to see. It's really cool.
Yeah, and you guys have especially, a much different kind of position than a lot of us because you guys get to kind of interact with the players almost all the time, every single game, and you guys can, get headshots from them or have them do the cool video of them with the bat over their shoulder that we have during the pregame videos when we're announcing the lineups and stuff. What kind of relationship have you been able to build with players and staff by having these kind of interactions and them also loving the content that you guys are creating?
It's, I mean, but there's no other word to describe it other than great. I mean, um, like the players really enjoy what we do. We really enjoy what the players do. We haven't had a single person get in any kind of, we haven't had any bad experience with any players. The players always have good experiences with us. And I actually have some funny stories about that. The main one being that Pablo Reyes was on his rehab stint with us, and we try to get stools in the photo pit so that we can sit down and edit instead of having to kneel or sit under the table or something like that. And we got two stools for the first time in a while the other day. So we put them in the pit. It was fine. We turn our back for 5 seconds and we see Pablo grabbed one of the stools and put it down by the camera and started sitting on it and watching the game. So when he went back out to go to the field, we took the stool back and then we were sitting on it editing. And then we turned our back again when he came in when we were all batting. And he took the stool again and sat on it. And it kept going back and forth, back and forth. And it was a great interaction between the two of us, but we were having a lot of fun with it in the pit.
Have you had any requests of players asking to take your camera or something and shoot a couple photos or videos?
Not this year, but last year I believe it was Franchi who took Taylor's camera and started. I have a video of it that we can play right now, but it was great. Franchi was taking the camera, taking photos of two of the other players, and it was a really fun time seeing that happen.
What are your favorite kind of like ambient photos that you were able to take of Polar Park? Because Polar Park is one of, if not the most beautiful ballpark I've seen in all of minor leagues. And when we have these different promotions, like, firework night, and we have the cool chase lights and everything, what are your best like ambient photos or videos that you've taken?
I'll start with photos actually, because you mentioned it. Definitely the firework photos. If you've been to the fireworks show, you've probably seen me running around scrambling with a tripod and a camera before outside the park. Inside the park doesn't really matter. I'm usually running around during it trying to get different shots. But I think my favorite one has actually been from the parking garage across the street. And I took a long exposure of the fireworks going off over the park. You can see the cars going by with the lights, people walking by. And it just paints a really beautiful picture of what goes on Friday nights at Polar Park. Video wise, I have something planned. Just got it cleared actually, where I'm going to be going on top of the board to get hopefully a 24-hour time lapse or something of that sort, and try and capture fans get sunrise, sunset, fans coming into the park, going out of the park. Hopefully a fireworks show if I do it on a Friday. Who knows? But I'd love to be able to capture that angle. But definitely anything video wise, wide angle with fan shots. Concourse on the berm. The berm's always a great place to be during a game in the summer. Anything with fans showing emotion, the love of the game, all that is stuff that I really just like to capture.
Wait, so you're going on top of the main video board out in left field?
Yeah.
Are you bringing, is it with that big lens that I always see you carrying, or is it some other kind of camera that you're kind of setting up there?
I'll be bringing a lot of lenses with me to try it out, but I was planning on bringing the 300 millimeter. That's the main game lens that I use, and try and get a little bit of action from up there. Quick shout out actually to, I believe it was the Durham Bulls. They shot a walk off from on top of their video board. At least I believe it was on top of the video board. It looked like that angle from that high up. But I can only imagine what it'd be like shooting a walk off at Polar Park, which we've had a lot of this year from the top of the Polar Vision board. Um, but I think I'm going to be bringing a GoPro to do the time lapse, my normal camera to do both long range and wide angle videos, and maybe my photo camera to take a few photos too.
Are you gonna be taking any photos from up there during a game?
Who knows? I guess
Okay,
we'll just have to
okay.
wait and see.
We'll leave that as a teaser for the future. What so far this season, what has been your favorite moment during a game that you have captured on camera?
I think it was actually the other day. 7 home runs. I believe it was seven, right?
Yeah, it was 7.
Seven. 7 home runs. Constant action no matter what. Every inning I said, all right, we finished the video for this home run. It's on Instagram. I'm going to leave the pit. I'm going to go somewhere else to record us bat. As soon as I was going to go leave, another home run. So I have to wait another inning to record. It just kept going and going and going. I was so happy and so proud of the team that I have around me. We got everything, the three of us, we got all the content out on time during the game, and I couldn't be happier with the result. The guys were, the guys were buzzing. It was a great time. Everyone was excited in the dugout. 7 home runs is really something you don't see often. Was that any kind of record for us? Polar Park record, I believe.
I don't know for sure, but I feel like that has to be a Polar Park record. I know the record was for AAA, like the
Mm-hmm.
this franchise back in Pawtucket in 2002. There was 8 home runs, and I think it was like 8 different players, maybe, or 8 home
Mm-hmm.
runs in general. Yeah, that was back in 2002. So this is something that hasn't been touched since, for like 20 years.
Yeah, since I was born, literally.
So Eddie, you've been with the team for not including just seasons, but what, about 2 years now?
Yeah, almost.
Almost 2 years. What can you say is probably the biggest thing you've learned for, say you're speaking to yourself from 3 years ago when you're at, just going into Bentley and you're starting up, doing all this video and you really want to get into it all. Now you're 2 years into working for, a professional team in sports. What advice would you go back and give yourself? And what is the biggest thing that you've learned during your tenure so far?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned and the advice that I'd give really go hand in hand, and it's that we play 72 home games a year. There's always another chance to get the shot. If you miss something, it's not the end of the world. I know last year I missed back-to-back home runs by Casas and Jeter Downs because I was looking down editing another clip, and I was really hard on myself about that scenario for pretty much almost a week. I was pretty down about missing those 2 clips, but you got to look at the bigger picture and realize that it's only one game, it's only one inning for that matter, and we have 9 more innings or 8 more innings in that game to work with. We have 71 more games that year to work with at home. And you just have to look at the bigger picture and keep going when it comes to any kind of struggles you might have in the job.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Eddie. The
Of course.
electric Eddie Monigan. You can always find him running around with the big 300-meter lugs, running around at Polar Park. When do the WooSox come back? July 25th?
I
Next
believe so.
homestand?
Your guess is as good as mine for this.
Next homestand around July 25th. About 2 weeks off now at Polar Park for games. Still a lot of events going on. Be sure to check out what promotions and what events are going on at WooSox.com. And check out WooSox.com if you would like to buy tickets or call the ticket office at 508-500-8888. Eddie, thank you very much for joining the podcast. Once again, I think this was your first solo episode?
First solo episode, yes.
First solo.
Thank you so
You've been
much,
on 3
Dave.
times.
Yeah.
You might be the most repeated guest so far.
Two times planned, one time as a surprise entrance.
That's right. That's right. When you brought the coffee. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Eddie. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too. Thanks so much.